Welcome back to Tyler's Retro Reviews for my second to last Halloween Havoc review. And then after that, we off to Survivor Series. This is another redo. The next two are redos. This one's Halloween Havoc 1997. And then, week after that, Halloween Havoc 1998. Let's get back to something pretty good now. My last two wrestling videos were on the main channel, which were the Tuesday was that Dumpster Fires of Raw in 2019. That was the sequel to the SmackDown one, and then last night was top 12 worst WWE pay-per-views ever. Next month I will do the best. So there's that. So yeah, and then also next month will be Survivor Series and the top 10 worst WWE matches ever on the main channel. That is. Let's talk about how we had like 1997. I this video was in 2019 on the main channel on Halloween, suburban Halloween night, but yeah, October 26th at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm just gonna refer to it as Las Vegas, like that, basically. This show has some good matches. One is a classic. Main event, on the other hand, is probably one of the worst matches in Havoc history. Well, I won't say that because there were some in 2000, but regardless, let's talk about Halloween Havoc 1997 for the second time. I already did all the 97 reviews on the main channel from 2021 to last January, but we all know I have to retire that series, and let's not mention it again because we all know I started this retro review series because I want to do more just one reviews for this channel now because I was getting burned out from doing the year in reviews. That's all you have to do. No. Anyways, let's talk about this show. By this point, WCW was still on top of the wrestling world, but fast forward to 98, they're neck and neck. And then 99, WCW was getting ice cold. Kind of familiar. They're getting ice cold. Say hello to AEW. Okay, let's not talk about it. Let's talk about the matches. Yuji Nagata defeats Ultimo Dragon by submission. This was a solid opening contest. This was during that whole feud between Ultimo Dragon and who was that manager's name? Oh, Sonny Ono. Yeah, it started back at Slamboree where Sonny Ono caused Ultimo Dragon his television championship against Lord Steven Regal. You may know him as William Regal. And this whole thing going on since summer 97 and into 90 all the way here. But this didn't have a culmination. A 7 out of 10. It was a good match. Chris Jericho defeats Guido by submission. The first match ends in a submission. Hilarious. This was before Jericho became a heel and started that whole one-sided storyline with Goldberg, who a month prior made his WCW debut. This man did behind me. It was a good cruiserweight match, and yeah, a good cruiserweight match. An 8 out of 10. Yeah, I forgot why I gave these matches, but regardless, let's continue on with next up the best match on the night. It's a title versus mask match for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. Rey Mysterio defeats Eddie Guerrero. What do you think between these two? Amazing match. Great chemistry between these two. Here's a little fun fact about the match. This match was on the prior year's 2K22, and I mentioned it before, but let me mention it again. In the game, the match, 2K22's match, showcase match between Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, if you lose to Eddie Guerrero, he does take off the mask. And that's the only match, by the way, that has a special cutscene in that showcase. But we all know this match did not have that finish. So Rey Mysterio does win the Cruiserweight Championship. Although he was originally supposed to lose the match and get a mask, but they changed their mind until Super Brawl 9. We'll talk about that probably by February. I can't give this a 10 out of 10. I mean, this match was amazing. I say this or next week's review with Goldberg and Diamond Page are probably the best Halloween Havoc matches. Matches at Halloween Havoc. Anyways. Next up, this was originally supposed to be Jeff Jarrett versus Steve McMichael, but Jeff Jarrett went back to the WWF before this pay-per-view happened. I think it was I believe it was on Raw the same night as the Nitro. Yeah, so that feud was over with. That's been going on since Jeff Jarrett came to WCW. I forgot. And his place was Alex Wright defeating Steve McMichael in a bad match, but this led to, the Goldberg-Mongo feud that wasn't as bad as people said it is, because their match at Starrcade 97 was decent. I think their Thunder match was better than that match, but yeah. This was the first pay-per-view appearance of Goldberg, but we all know Goldberg is Mr. Halloween Havoc to me, because he's never lost at Halloween Havoc. Or whatever. This match was bad. I'll give it a 1 because of Goldberg coming in and saving this because of an interference. But I can't say the next match. It's involved fucking Disco Inferno. Jacqueline defeats Disco Inferno. Fuck Disco Inferno. That's all I have to say. Fuck Disco Inferno. There you go. This was shit. 0. Why was this on the pay-per-view? This was, I think this was supposed to happen, but then Disco got fired from WCW, then he got rehired, and then, yeah, and he's also the television championship at this point. Why? Anyways, next up is for the WCW United States Championship, although this was mostly a story-driven match. The reason why, because Kurt Hennig turned on the Four Horsemen at Fall Brawl 97 and joined the NWO because of that. So yeah, Kurt Hennig defeats Ric Flair by disqualification to retain the United States Championship. They have a rematch out of the World War III pay-per-view where Hennig won that, and they were supposed to have a steel cage match at Starrcade, but that got canceled because Ric Flair didn't make the Starrcade card. Diamond Dallas Page took Flair's spot in the U.S. title match. But yeah. What's weird about this, Kurt Hennig was carrying not the United States Championship, the Cruiserweight Championship. And this edge with Ric Flair grabbing the Cruiserweight Championship and stomping on Kurt Hennig's face with it, and then referees trying to stop him and more of that. Yeah, 6 out of 10. It was a fine match, but it was mostly just an angle, basically. Anyways. Then we get Lex Luger and Scott Hall having a no contest in there with Larry Zbyszko as the special guest referee. Oh god, I just saw this Larry Zbyszko as a referee in the Final Resolution 2006 match 2 months ago with Raven, and surprisingly Sean Wolfman with 6. Sean Wolfman with 6 at this point. I don't think he was around much longer after this pay-per-view because I think he did suffer a neck injury in that tag time match against with Scott Hall to face the Steiners, which um, yeah, this was a clusterfuck and bad match. I guess Luger won, but on the Wikipedia here, it says it ends in a no contest. Whatever. This was mostly just a story-driven match for Zbyszko versus Eric Bischoff Starrcade. That was a terrible, terrible match. And Zbyszko versus Scott Hall sold out. But yeah. But regardless, this was shit. A 3. Then we get the second best match on the night. A Las Vegas sudden death match. It's basically a last man standing match. And this was a damn good one. Macho Man Randy Savage defeats Diamond Dallas Page in this Las Vegas sudden death match. This feud made DDP a main eventer. I mean, these two, their match at Spring Stampede main evented that show. Great match. It put DDP over as the main eventer. You know, Savage put Diamond Dallas Page over big with that win. And then their Great American Bash match, which was more of the same, great. And this, great also. 9.5 out of 10. At the end, Hogan's dressed up as Sting and hits DDP with the baseball match. This was around the time when Sting did not wrestle a match until Fall Brawl 96. So, yeah, speaking of, we get the main event. This was a steel cage match, but everyone said this was called Age in the Cage. When the fuck would you people call it that? At this point, Piper and Hogan were in their 40s. Roddy Piper defeats Hollywood Hogan by technical submission. Hogan was the WCW championship at this point, but the title wasn't on the line like their match at Starrcade 96. It kind of coincidence. This whole thing with Piper and Hogan in WCW started at the prior year's Halloween Havoc, where Piper made his WCW debut after the Hogan Savage main event. And then they did the match at Starrcade. And then they did the match at Super Brawl, which had a convoluted finish where, Savage missed his cue in that match. However, this match was not good. Is it the worst main event in WCW's history? You could say it's number 3 on the list. It's still bad. And there's an army of Stings. One was a black man, by the way. Savage, I don't know how the fuck he was able to still wrestle after this incident. He jumps off this fucking ginormous, it's the Thunderdome cage, by the way. He goes for the action and he inadvertently injured himself. I'm surprised he didn't get surgery until, the summer of 98? A lot of people say that Stone Cold Steve Austin didn't get neck surgery for 2 years. Nobody ever mentioned Randy Savage having surgery until the summer of 98. I don't get that. This was not a good main event. Piper won, but then afterwards Hogan and Savage attack him, and then a plant fan, it was a plant, they showed the cameras on him, and that's how the show ended. And you know about Starrcade 97 already, the fucked over flash counter between Hogan and Sting. Yeah. So that was Halloween Havoc 1997, and overall it was a solid show. WCW was again still, what am I trying to say? They're still being better than the WWF, but then again, they have the debut of Kane there, and we all know the Montreal Screwjob. I overall give the show a 7 out of 10. Yeah. Yeah, I'll give it a that. Also, I want to talk about Sting a little bit, because, by the way, that diamond from last night was... I only want to see it for Sting's announcement, and he's announcing his retirement by Revolution 2024. I think his contract is up next year. Because once his contract is up, he's done. I mean, I love Sting. I'm glad to meet him like 2 years ago. But he's not in his prime anymore. It's time to... Once his contract is up by the 2024, he's done. I know it's me being criticized, but no, this is time for him to finally hang up the boots. I know his run in WWE was iffy to me, but he had a run in WWE, okay? And I know Seth Rollins didn't... It was a fucking freak accident. That's all it was, that match. Sooner or later, probably by the end of the year, I might do a topic on what's the most hardest matches to watch. No mention of Chris Benoit and those, because their matches were not hard to watch, okay? I think of Sting and Seth Rollins from Night of Champions 2015. Rock Mankind in their I Quit match at the Rumble 99. I think of other, like... I don't know if I want to do that video or not. No, I don't think I should. But anyways, like this, comment. By the way, next week will be Halloween Havoc 1998. Another redeal of that, where we see Goldberg and Diamond Dallas Page for the WCW Championship, and that disastrous Hollywood Hogan Ultimate Warrior match. Like this, comment, and subscribe to both my channels, and Friday I'll do my SmackDown review also. And then Saturday I'll finish my other Addams Family movie review with the second one. And then we're almost done with the Halloween stuff, because I have 3. I want to do one more of these, squeeze them in for the end of Halloween. So yeah, like this, comment, and subscribe to both my channels, and there. Bye-bye.